Hey guys, welcome to Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Today's video will be on a scattered odd killer Sudoku created by MavericksJD. This Sudoku was sent to us by Mavericks, and this Sudoku was created by the author in less than an hour. And also, this was created so that the author gets good while creating irregular Sudokus. There is a contest that is going to happen at Logic Masters India later this month. The name of the contest is Irregular and Twisted Classics, and that round is going to be authored by MavericksJD. So this Sudoku was created by him in less than an hour to get in touch for creating irregular Sudokus. I have tried this Sudoku previously, and I found it to be really hard. I even got stuck in it for quite a while until I got the idea on how to continue. So having said that, if you want to try out the Sudoku yourself, the link to solve is given in the description of the video. You can try it out yourself and then come back and watch the video. Do not miss the video. I'll try to take you through the exact intended solve path. As I understand, there may be different solve paths to solve the Sudoku, but I will take you through a one which helped me complete the Sudoku comfortably. So the rules of the Sudoku are classic rules apply. Each row and column will contain digits from 1 to 9, and instead of boxes we have irregular shaped regions here, right? There are exactly 8 irregular shaped regions. As you can see, this is the first region, this is the second region, and there are 8 such regions in the grid. So each of the irregular shaped regions will contain the digits from 1 to 9. So one thing that follows is that all these 9 single cells, because the entire grid contains 9 sets of 1 to 9, and the 8 irregular regions take and the 8 irregular region takes 8 sets of 1 to 9. These single cell will also take 1 to 9, the digits from 1 to 9, to preserve the balance. And the second part is that there are some gray circles given in the grid. They will contain only odd digits. The next part is the killer part. You have dotted cells. You have cages in the grid encompassing digits, and the sum of the digits inside each cage will be equal to the clue given in the top left corner, and digits do not repeat inside a cage. As you can see, there is a central box also which takes 9 digits, and digits do not repeat inside such cages. So these are the rules. With that, we'll start solving this Sudoku. Okay, the first thing that one needs to notice is this 33 cage. So we know that a 33 cage can never be satisfied without a 7, 8 and 9 inside there. So it is a 5 cell cage, and to get to 33 total, you will surely need to have the digits 7, 8 and 9 inside. And 9 can never be near the pointing end of a sign. So 9 is not going to be here. And the remaining 2 digits must either be 3 and 6 or 4 and 5 for the 33 cage. The next thing you can see is that there is a 5 cell 15 cage. So there is only one possibility to fill it: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there is a 17 cage, a 5 cell 17 cage. Just like this 33 cage, there are some digits which needs to go for sure inside a 17 cage. So and that has to be 1, 2 and 3. So if you don't have any of these digits inside, the total you will be reaching is will be much more than the actual one. So 17, for 17 you need these digits. So the remaining digits must either be 4 and 7 or 5 and 6. And we know that this irregular region contains the digits from 1 to 9, and out of which 5 cells already take 17. So these 4 cells must sum up to 28. So which means that for 28 with 4 cells, you will surely have 8 and 9 inside that. So the next 2 digits must either be 4 and 7 or 5 and 6. And this is an odd cell, so I can remove the corner pencil mark of 8 from here. So now you'll notice that we have an 8, 9 in the last 2 rows, and we also have an 8, 9 in these last 2 rows in 33 cage, which means that none of these cells can take 8 or 9, and for this region, right, the 8, 9 gets pushed inside the 25 cage. So these 4 cells will now take an 8 and 9, because we have 8, 9 in rows 8 and 9, so none of these cells can be 8 and 9, so 8, 9 gets pushed inside this 25 cage. And now we need to get a total of 8 more in this cage with 3 digits, and that is going to either be 1, 2 and 5 or 1, 3 and 4. There is no other possibility. So which means these two cells, I mean these 4 cells would have to take 6, 7 for the box, because 6, 7 cannot be inside the cage. This is an irregular shape region. So all digits must be there. So 6 and 7 must be inside here. And the remaining 2 digits are either 2 and 5 or 3 and 4, depending on what we get here. And now the next thing to see is that, so you'll see you have a 7 in these 4 cells, right? In one of these 4 cells, I mean, and there is a 7 in this 33 cage as well. So rows 8 and 9 already take the 2 7. So which means that you cannot have 7 in any of these cells, right? So which means that we are going to get the 7 inside the 17 cage, and the moment you get that, there is only one way to fill the 17 cage, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7. That's nice, right? So this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7. So I can remove the 7 from this cell, that's not a 7. And now I can write the remaining digits here. So they are going to be 5, 6, 8 and 9. And this is not even, so that would be 5 and 9. So now that I've got a 6 here, 6 in the last 2 rows, and you will notice that there is also a 6 in the last 2 rows in columns 1 and 2. So this box cannot take a 6. So which means that the 33 is now going to be 7, 8 and 9, not 3 and 6, but 4 and 5. So we have got all the 5 digits here. So this would be 4, 5, 7, 8 and 9. So this is a really effective way to start the Sudoku. So this is not a 9. And you can't have a 4 here because 4 is the lowest digit inside the cage. And now this is an irregular region, right? And we have got 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 inside the box. So which means these cells must be 1, 2, 3 and 6, the remaining digits. And 6 cannot be in the last 2 rows, so I will remove the 6 from here. So that is 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so nice. And we have got the 5 now inside this cage. And you'll notice that there is also a 5 in columns 8 and 9. So there are 2 5s in last 2 rows, which means that this area, which sums up to 20, because this is 25, cannot contain 2 and 5. It cannot be 6, 7, 2 and 5. It would have to be 6, 7, 3 and 4, which is the only possible other combination. So I can write the digits there. This is going to be 3, 4, 6 and 7. So look how it's proceeding, guys. You are getting one of the digits and combining it with the other same digit in the row and deducing that it cannot be in other cells in that row. So this is not, this is a 3, 4, 6, 7. So this is not 4 and 6. That's a 3, 7. And now we know what is the 25 cage. It's going to be 1, 2, 5. So 1, 2, 5, 8 and 9, and we know that this is not 8 and 9, so that's 1, 2 and 5. Okay, so this is the start that I got in the Sudoku. So I think this Sudoku may be harder because not that the logic is really new or something like that. It's all basic logic, but the thing is that you might not know where to continue next, and that part really tripped me because I was searching for continuation in the Sudoku in all the wrong places, and that didn't help me at all. I really used in-out at the start, and that really didn't help me much. I'll show you the break-in that was really different for me. So, and now we have almost completed the bottom part of the grid. So let us go to this area, right? You have a 31 cage with 5 cells, and there are 4 cells which sum up to 14, right? Because this is an irregular shape region and contains digits from 1 to 9. So this area sums up to 14, and we know that 4 cells summing up to 14 can never take a 9. So 9 goes inside this 31 cage. And you'll also notice that we have marked 3 and 4 inside columns 1 and 2 in rows 8 and 9. And there is also a 3 and 4 inside this cage, which means that none of these cells, none of these pink cells can take a 3 and 4, and which means that the 3, 4 gets pushed inside this cage. So that becomes 3, 4, 9. And I think we'll be able to put in the total now. 3 plus 4 plus 9 is 16. And we need 15 more from 2 digits, which is going to only be 7 and 8. So this box is going to be 3, 4, 7, 8 and 9. Right? So I'll remove the highlighting from there. So that's 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and this is can't be 3 and 4, so that's 7, 8 and 9. Let me remove the corner pencil marks. Okay, which means that this area is now 1, 2, 5 and 6, and you cannot have 2 and 6. So it's a 1 and 5. Okay. The next thing to see in this Sudoku is, okay, now if you see column 1, we have made a lot of pencil marks. There are exactly 2 cells, and those 2 cells we can lock a pair, 8, 9. There are no other cells which can take 8, 9 in that column, right? And similarly in row row 9, you'll notice that there are exactly 2 cells for us to place the 1 and 2. We can lock a 1, 2 pair inside. So if you remember at the start, I had mentioned that these single cells will also take digits from 1 to 9. So we've got 1, 2, 8, 9. So these remaining 5 cells would be 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, right? So that they also take 1 to 9. And one of the small things to notice here is that if you have 3 or 6 in this cell, for this box, you'll need to have digits from 1 to 9, so which means digits cannot repeat inside this box. So if you have a 3 or a 6 inside this cell, we also need to have 1, 2, 3, 6 inside these 4 cells. So if you have a 3 or 6, this cell becomes 3 or 6. If that's a 3, this is a 3, and that's a 6, that is a 6 due to classic. But that puts 2 same digits inside a box, and that cannot happen. So which means that is not a 3 and 6. So I'll remove that. So that's a 4, 5 and 7. And now I think we can switch over to this part of the grid, which really gives in the break-in and where I got stuck for quite a while. So if you notice this 25 kh, so the sum of these digits is going to be 20. And now you'll notice that there is a shift in logic. So columns 8 and 9 add up to 90, right? 45 plus 45, 2 sets of 1 to 9 add up to 90. So this area contains 20, the sum of this area is 20. This area sums to 29 and this area sums to 28, right? So from the blue area, we have digits adding up to 28 plus 29, which is 57, and plus 20, which is 77. So which means that the remaining cells in that last 2 columns, yellow cells, sorry, what am I doing? So the yellow cells will take digits which sum up to 13, right? Because we know that columns 8 and 9 add up to 90, and the blue cells add up to 77. We just saw 28 plus 29 plus 20, and which means that the yellow cells add up to 13. You'll notice that there is exactly one way to now fill up these yellow cells, because these 2 cells are 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We got a 1, 2 pair here, so the minimum value from these 2 cells is going to be 3 plus 4. 1 and 2 are eliminated from here, so which means that 3 plus 4, and the minimum value from these yellow cells is 1, 2 and 3, and when you add 7 and 1, 2 and 3, you will get 13. Wow, this step took me a lot of time to find, guys, because not that it is difficult to find by itself, but thing is that I was not looking at the Sudoku this way. I was looking at all the irregular regions, all the places where one was not bound to get a continuation, all the wrong places you can say. So which means that this has to be 5, 6, 7 strictly, and this has to be 1, 2 and 3. A simple idea, but really hidden well. It's not easy to find this, guys. It's not at all easy to find this. But if you find this like instantly, then you must be, you are prepared to participate in World Championships. So you get 3, 4 here and 1, 2 and 3 here. Now if you add the remaining cells, we get 13. So that really helps us in the solve. So you got a 3, 4 pair here, which means that these single cells cannot contain 3, 4. So 5, 6 and 7. Right, which means that 6 is in one of these cells and that's not a 6. And which means 6 is in one of these cells. Okay. Now where do I continue? Okay, we know that 6 is in one of these cells and 6 is in one of these cells, which means that 6 is in one of these cells in this irregular cage. the same idea that we have been using all over the place. This area, we are seeing the same digits which occur in the extreme two rows and trying to push them in cages. The same idea is being used here. And now okay, we have marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So the remaining digits here must be 6, 7, 8, 9 for this irregular region, this key-shaped region, you can say. Okay. So, and you have a 29 cage, and 3 is in column 9, rows 3 and 7, and 3 is also here, which means that this cage cannot take a 3 because 3 is in last two columns. So, which means that we can place a 3 in one of these 4 cells in this cage, again a key shaped region. Okay, so we can do some work here. We can tidy up the pencil mark somewhat. So you have 1, 2, 5 in this cage, and we also have 1, 2 and 5 in the columns 1 and 2, which means that the rest of the cells in that column cannot take a 1, 2 and 5. These cells can't take 1, 2 and 5, which means that I can remove 1, 2 and 5 from here. That's 8 and 9, and that gives me 8, 9 pair, so that is not 8 and 9. So we get a 1, 2, 5 triplet now. So that is also not a 1, 2, 5, so that's 8 and 9. So you get 8, 9 pair. So when you see, look at this cage carefully, there is an 8 and a 9 inside, right? Which means that if I have an 8 here, this obviously cannot be 8, because if that is also 8, then you can't place the 8 here. So these two cells cannot be the same, right? So if this is 8, that is a 9, and if that is 9, that is 8, which means that this cell which sees both of these cells cannot take 8 and 9. So that is a 3, 4 and 7. And if that is 8, 8 is going to be present in one of these two cells, and if that is 9, 9 will be present in one of these two cells, and that is going to give you an invisible pair, right? Which means that this cell cannot be 8 and 9, because you have one of 8, 9 here, and the other 8, 9 will somewhere be in these two cells, right? So there is a 6 in these two cells, and there is also 6 in last two columns, so I can't have a 6 here. So 6 is also removed from that cell, and that gives me a triplet, 7, 8 and 9. Although it doesn't help much. Okay, it actually helps in removing 7 pencil mark from these two cells. So 7 is not here. 7 goes in one of these two cells. So the next step to see here is, okay, let us look at this column, column 7. The Sudoku still hasn't become easy, and we have still not placed our first digit yet. If you notice at the grid, we haven't yet placed the first digit yet, guys. That is really remarkable. So, and before I go on to column 7, I can do something here. There is a 5 in last two rows, and there is a 5 in this case, so that's not a 5. And that gives me a 1, 2 pair, and that gives me my first digit, right? Superb. So my first digit gets placed at 19 minutes, guys. 19 minutes. Okay, so I got the 5 here, so which means that's not a 5 using classic. So I have a 6 and 7 pair now. So none of these cells can take a 7. So those become 3, 4, 8, 9. So which means that these cells will take a 3, 4 corner pencil mark, because you have a 3, 4, 8, 9 quadruple. So that's a 3, 4, and that is not a 3, 4, right? And now I get a 7, 8, 9 triplet. Awesome. Look at this, guys. There is a 7, 8 and 9 triplet here, which means these cells cannot take 7, 8 and 9. None of these cells can take a 7, 8, 9. Also there is a 3, 4 pair, which means that the remaining digits are 1, 2, 5 and 6. So that's not a 3. That is a 1, 2, 5, 6. And these two cells will also be 1, 2, 5 and 6. Great. So the thing is that there are some tiny directions that you can keep on eliminating until you get the break in, so it's kind of hard even now. So what is the thing I have to see here? Okay, in row 7 I'm seeing something. 7 is in only these two cells, right? So we can make a corner pencil mark, and that removes the 7 from this cell. So that is a 1, 2, 3 and 4. Oh, nice. So these two cells are not same, guys, just like we saw here, right? Same kind of deduction. This cell and this cell cannot be same, right? Because if they are same, then you are not going to have either the 1 or the 2 inside this 17 cage. 1 1 will remove the 1 from here, and 2 2 will remove the 2 from here. So both of these cells are different, which means that the cell which sees both of those cells cannot take 1 and 2. So that is 3 4 and 7, right? And if that's a 1, you will have 1 in one of these two cells. Combining with this 2, you will get a 1 2 pair, and if that is a 2, you will get 2 in one of these two cells, and combining with the 1, you get a 1 2 pair. So that is not 1 and 2. So that's 3 and 6. Look how many eliminations you are doing, guys. Just small eliminations continuously. So we also know that this 1 or 2 has to be in one of these cells, right? Because if that's a 1, you will get 1 in one of these two cells, and if that's a 2, you'll get 1 or 2 in the one of these two cells. And we have a 1 2 pair invisible from these three cells. So this is not 1 and 2. So that's a 5 and 6. Oh, I saw something here which I'm unable to remember now. Still, the Sudoku hasn't become easy, guys. This seemed to be the break-in, but there is definitely a little bit of work that you need to do here. Okay, that's nice. So this cell, row 5, column 5, cannot be a 7, because if you have a 7 here, actually the deduction was sitting there for pretty long. So we could have done this earlier also. So if I have a 7 here, so I'll get a 7 here for this cage, right? And that gives me 2 7s inside this box, right? A really sharp deduction, which means that this is not a 7, so that's a 5, and which means that these two cells become a 6 7 pair, right? So that's a 6 and 7. Is that giving me something? So I can remove the 5 from here, that's not a 5, and okay. So if you notice here, there is also something nice. So look at these cages, guys. A whole lot of different deductions. So all these three areas, you can say, the plus shaped region here, the plus shaped region here, and this area here, take the 8 and 9 inside them, which means that for columns 2, columns 3 and column 4, you have got the 8 9 3 times, right? So which means that the rest of the cells in those places, I mean, cannot take 8 and 9. Other cells don't take 8 and 9 anyway. So let us focus on these cells alone. So none of these cells can take 8 and 9, because for columns 2 3 4 we have managed to restrict 8 and 9 into 3 areas. So which means this is not 8 and 9. So let me remove the 8 9 from here. So that becomes 4 5 7. So okay. I'll remove the highlighting from here. Okay. So if I look at this 29 cage, the 4 cells sum up to 16, the remaining 4 cells, and of which 3 is a part, right? Okay, so 9 cannot be outside these 4 cells, guys, because if you have a 9 outside here, we know that those 4 cells will sum up to 16, and 9 plus 3 is 12, and for getting 4 more, you'll need 1 and 3 again. So the only way to get to 16 with a 9 inside is 1, 3, and again 3 and 9, right, which is not possible. So which means that the 9 inside here has to go inside the 29 cage, right? So that is nice, and because of which you eliminate the 9 from this cell. Awesome. So now that puts the 9 inside this 25 kg, right? That is a difficult reduction to say the least. So 9 is in one of these two cells, and we also know that 6 is in one of these two cells. Okay, so because we eliminated 6 from these two rows, so 6 was narrowed inside this cage in one of these three cells. So 6 plus 9 is 15, and we need 3 more digits which add up to 10. Okay, and one thing for certain, when you have 3 more digits adding up to 10, you cannot have the 8 inside, right? So the 8 goes outside, it goes somewhere here. And that is awesome, guys. The same pattern of logic that we have been using since the start. So you have an 8 in these three cells and 8 in one of these 4 cells. So last two columns cannot take an 8. So this area specifically cannot take an 8, right? So which means that the 8 is going in one of these cells. And now 8 combines with the 3 and we need to get to 16. So 8 plus 3 is 11. And the only way to get 16 is 1 plus 4. Superb, superb, really superb, guys. No words. A really deep reduction. This is not a simple Sudoku, guys. It's really tough one. So which means that so these 4 cells, it's going to be 11, 1, 3, 4 and 8, right? Yeah. But we saw that this has to be 1, 2 or 3. So this is not 4 and 8 because these 3 cells must be 1, 2 and 3, right? So we got 1, 3, 4, 8 outside. And now we can place in the digits here. They would have to be 2, 5, 6, 7 and 9. And look at this situation, guys. 26 minutes later, we have placed just 2 digits inside the grid after 26 minutes, guys. Really a tough one. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 9 here. So we have a 5, 6, 9 here, which means that we can use the same idea that we used earlier. 5 cannot be in these 4 cells. 5 gets pushed inside this cage. Awesome. So we have 5, 6 and 9 inside, which means that the remaining 2 cells must sum up to 5. So and that is either 1 plus 4 or 2 plus 3. Okay, that is really nice. So these cells sum up to 20, right? So 7 is not inside the cage because 1 plus 4, 2 plus 3 will already give us 5 digits. So 7 is outside. So we get a 7 here. Still it doesn't become easy, guys. Tough one. So I can remove the 8 from here. If this is 8, you get an 8 here again and both of these become in the same box. So that's not 8. So that is 6, 7 and 9. I wonder how the author constructed this Sudoku in less than an hour, guys. I mean, it almost takes us an hour to solve it. But imagine constructing this in less than an hour and creating this in less than an hour and seeing all the directions. Not at all an easy task. Really hats off for pulling this off in less than an hour. So what am I supposed to see here now? Okay, I have a 6, 7 pair here. So that is not a 7. So which means 7 is in one of these 2 cells and that gives 7 in one of these 2 cells, right? Because inside this region you can't have 7 in rows 1 and 2. So 7 goes in one of these 2 cells and that removes the 7 from here. And because this is in the same box, you can remove the 7 from here. And that gives a 7 here. That removes the 7 here. And that gives a 7 here. And you also can remove the 8 from here because if that's an 8, you'll have an 8 here again and both of these are in the same box. So that's not 8, so that's 1, 3, 4. So that is not a 5 because you have a 5 here. And which means for row 3 you'll have 5 in one of these 2 cells. So I'll remove the 5 from here and 5 from here. Okay. So 5 is in one of these 2 cells. And we remember that 9 must be in one of these 2 cells because no other cell can take the 9 in that row, in that column. So, and we also have a 1 or 2, which means that 1 will go with the 4 and that will give a 4 in one of these 2 cells. And if it's a 2, 3 must be in one of these 2 cells, which means that this cell cannot be a 6. So 6 is also removed from that and that becomes a 5, 6 pair. Superb, right? I'll just again repeat the deduction which I found. So 6 was in these 3 cells. But we have 5, 6 and 9 inside and 2 cells which sum up to how much is that? 5. So if you have a 1 here, 4 must be in these two cells, and 2 here, 3 must be in one of these two cells. So that's not a 6. So which means you get a 5-6 pair here for the box. This would be a 5-6, and these two cells must be 3-4-9, right? Depending on whether this is 1 or 2, this is either 4 or 3. And now if you look at column 7, oh my god, really. So if you look at column 7, there is only one cell for the 8, guys. So that gives you an 8 here, and that's not an 8 now. So that is 1, 3 and 4, which means you have 1, 3, 4 triplet, and that is a 4. 4 must be in one of those cells, and that is not a 4. That is, these two cells are not 4, so they become 5, 7, 8, 9. Surely I think at this point the Sudoku should give us something. So 5, 6 pair, that's not a 6, so that is 1 and 2. And which means that if you have a 1 here, basically you have a quadruple here, 1, 2, 3 and 6, right? So which means these cells will contain 3 and 6, and you can't have 3, 6 here. That is 1 and 2, so both these cells are same. Alright, so what am I supposed to see here now? Okay, you have a 1, 2, 3 triplet, right? So which means that 2 is not in these two cells, so 2 goes in one of these 3 cells. Oh, you have an 8 here, right? We got an 8 here, which means that this cell cannot take an 8. So we have a 6, 7, 9 triplet, and that gives us an 8 here. Superb, guys. So I think with this the Sudoku should become easier. I hope so. That's a 9 now. That is an 8. That is not an 8. So you have a 7, 9 pair. So that's not 9. That's not 9. So 3, 4, 8 triplet. Right, so which means that this is a 7 and a 9, so you have 7, 9 pair, that becomes 9. That becomes 8, that becomes 9. Slowly the Sudoku has started leaking digits, guys. Slowly we have got some digits now. But what a Sudoku, really, what a construction. It's tough, alright, but definitely it deserves some praise for the deductions being so deep. And I would really appreciate if you guys find something else in the Sudoku that helped you complete really fast. We'd really appreciate that. To me, I think this deduction, this 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, finding that really helped in the Sudoku, and some other deductions in between. So you have a 5 here, so 5 cannot mean any of these cells, which means 5 goes in these 5 cells. That's not a 5, right? Okay, so I'll write some more pencil marks. For column 5, these cells will take 4, 7, 8 and 9. Those two cells are not 7, because 7 is already in rows 1 and 2. So those would be 4, 8, 9. So that's a 4, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So am I missing something here? So you have you can remove the 8 from here, so that's 4, 7 and 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 was already in one of these two cells. Okay, not a problem. Can I write any more digit here? No, 3 or 4, right? But okay, 7, 8. Okay, it's either 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. We don't know that yet, right? Oh, awesome. So 3 is in one of these two cells and 3 is in one of these two cells, right? We could have done this earlier. So 3 is not in these 4 cells, which means that 3 must be in one of these two cells, and that immediately proves us that 1 cannot be here. This has to be a 2, because 1 will go with the 4. So this would be a 2, which means I can remove the 4 from here. Awesome, guys. And that should really help us now, guys. That should really help us now. So that's not a 2 now, so that's a 1, 3 pair. So 3, 9 pair, I can remove the 3 from these 3 cells. So it is 1, 2, 4 and 7. So you have a 1, 2, 4, 7 quadruple here, and a 1, 2, 4 triplet if you break it down further. So which means this is a 7, and that is a 6, that is a 7, that is a 6, that becomes 9, that becomes 7, that becomes 9, that becomes 7. Awesome, guys, awesome. So that gives a 4, 5 pair here, and which means I can remove the 5 from these cells. So that's 7, 8, 7, 8 and 9. So you can't have a 7 anymore here. That is 8 and 9. So 7 is in one of these two cells. That's not a 7. So that is 1 2 1 3. So you have 1 2 1 3 triplet. Stunning, guys. This is stunning from MavericksJD. Really, his gray cells must have been running really haywire while constructing the Sudoku. An awesome creation. So 1 2 3 triplet. Look how it's proceeding, guys. So that's a 6. That's a 4. So that's not a 6. That's not a 6. So you have can remove the corner pencil mark from here. So 3 is in one of these cells and 4 is in one of these cells. Okay. So 2, 5, 6, 3 and 9. So these cells would be 1, 4, 7, 8. Can't have the 4 there. Can I have... Okay, there is a 4 here. That's a 3 now. And that's a 4 now. So that is not a 4. So I apologize if I'm not missing something. If I'm missing something simpler here. But this, it seems to be really a mess for me. I'm unable to see anything here. So I'm just going wherever my eyes take me. So that's not a 7. There may be a digit which is like apparent. Really, you can write easily here, but I may be missing something, so I'm sorry for that. So you have a 6 here, which means these two cells would be 6, 5. And this is a 2, so that's a 1. And which means you get a 1 here. So these two cells will become 2 and 3. So I'll remove the 3 corner pencil mark from here. Okay, this is not a 1. That is not a 1. This is not a 1. That's not a 1. So you have a 3, 4 pair. Awesome. So that gives a 2 here, a 4 here, a 1 here, a 3 here, and a 1 here, and a 2 here, a 1 here, a 2 here. Superb, superb, guys. Really, okay, that's a 3 now, that's a 2 now. So no 2, 4 here for the row. So that becomes 3, 5 pair, which means that these cells would be 6 and 7. And I can remove the 6 from here. So that becomes 2, 5, 9. Okay, so 3, 4 pair. 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 8 and 9. So this would be 6 and 7, right? For the box, remember there is a middle box which sums up to 45 with 9 digits. So that's a 7, which means that's a 7, that's a 6. What am I supposed to see? You have a 3, 5 here, so that is not a 3 and a 5. That's not a 3 first. And these two cells are not 5, so they would be 1, 2, 4. Suppose we have a 3 here, right? So which means that's a 1. That's not a 1, so that's a 2 and 4. And you have a 9 here, so that's a 2, that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a 4. That is a 1, 2 pair. That's not a 2, so that's a 5, 9, 5, 9 pair, which means that's a 3, that is 8, that is 3, and that is 9, right? So which means that's not a 9, so that's 4 and 8. So slowly the candidates inside in each of the cells are getting reduced, right? So you have a 1 here, so that's not a 1, so those will be 4, 7, 8. One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these cells will be 2 and 3, right? For the column, and you have a 3 here. So that's a 3, that's a 2. These two cells are not 2, which means that is a 2. So because we have 1, 5, 6 triplet, so that's a 2, which means that is 2, that is 1, and that's not 1, so that's 5 and 6. So we know that you have a 27 kg here. So for the region, and I think this should be the final nail in the coffin of the Sudoku, guys. So you have a 27 here, which means these 4 cells sum up to 18. So 13 plus 1 is 14. So this would have to be a 4, right? Which means that's not a 4. So you have 8, 9 here, and these cells now we know must be 5, 8, 9, right? That's not a 5, so that's 8 and 9. That's not a 9, because you have a 9 here, so that's not 9. So 5 and 8, so 9 must be in one of these cells. Okay, you have a 4 here, so that's not a 4, so that's 7 and 8, so 4 must go in here. No other cell for the 4. Okay, 9 is in one of these cells. Oh, you have a 3 here, so that's not a 3. So this is 4, 6, 4, 6, 7. So 3 must be in one of these cells. 6 must be in one of these cells. Oh, what am I missing here? I'm unable to see what I'm missing here. So 3, 5, 6. So 4 is in one of these two cells. So 4 can be removed from here. So that's a 6 and 7. Okay. Okay, 1 is in one of these cells. Am I supposed to do something different here? I don't remember being stuck here at this point. So I think I used uniqueness at this point, but this is a live video, right? So we'll try to find a logic here. Here I removed both the 5, 9 here because you have a 5, 9 and you'll have a 5, 9 that you'll unable to be resolved. That won't be resolved. So I used the uniqueness when I solved it earlier. So this becomes 6 and 8 and that helped me, I think. So let us see for logic here. There may be a very simple reduction I am missing, guys. I really apologize, but I am unable to see that here. 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 6 and 7. Okay. I've seen that this is 1, 6, 8, 9, 2, 3, 7. So that is a 4, 5 pair. And last row contains 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 and 9. Okay. Is there some rule part I'm missing? You have 6, 7 here, 5 here, 1 and 2 here, 3, 4 here, 8 and 9. Okay, all these scattered cells contain that. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a 3, 5 pair which I don't think can be resolved now. Oh, come on. Mr. Simple thing, guys. Simple thing. So look at this odd cell. That does not contain an 8, right? So that has to be a 1. Sorry for that, guys. Really, it was a tough Sudoku, so this deduction got missed. I'm extremely sorry for that. So that's a 1, that's a 5, that's a 6, that's a 1, that's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 7, that's a 6, that's a 4, that's a 3, and this is a 7, 8 pair, which means that's a 5, so that's an 8, 9, and what am I supposed to see now? There is a 7 here, so 7 goes here, and this irregular symbol helps us resolve this. So that's an 8, that's a 9, that's an 8, that's a 9, and this 9 gives us a 5 here and 5, 9. So that's a 4, that's a 5, so that's a 6, and these would be 8, 9 pair, and this 6 resolves this 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, and 9 and 5. With that, we have completed this gargantuan Sudoku. That's what I can say. A really tough construction, and to say that this Sudoku was created by the author in less than an hour, really hats off to the Sudoku. In my first instance, I took well above, I think we have taken 43 minutes to complete the Sudoku. In my first attempt, I took well above an hour. So to create a Sudoku which takes that much time to solve in less than an hour is awesome, guys. This is really awesome. A very tough one to say the least. So hope you guys had fun watching me solve this Sudoku. If you found something interesting that really helped you break open the Sudoku, please do share in the comments, and we'll be really happy to acknowledge that. So thank you for watching. We hope to see you soon again with a video. Bye bye.